I felt the need to address some of the odd complaints some of my classmates have made after watching the first season of Game of Thrones together. They ask how Game of Thrones can be so popular when it contains so much sex, violence, and rape, wondering if maybe it's just human nature to get unreasonably excited over such things. Some of them go as far as to say the entirety of the series is nothing more than a sexist, misogynistic, rape-glorifying fantasy that has no meaning whatsoever. First off, I feel like the term misogyny gets thrown around as a sort of shorthand for anything women might find offensive, when really there's a world of difference between creating a sexy character or depicting characters having sex and truly hating women. To say that someone hates women, that they automatically negate anything that is said or accomplished by a woman simply because of her gender, is a very serious accusation, one that I don't think applies to Martin's writing at all. Yes, Dany's sex training was more than likely played up for titillation purposes in the TV series. I mean, just look at the description they had to work with in the book. That doesn't sound sexy at all. My point is, if Game of Thrones' value came only from its sexiness, then no one would care about it. No one would bother reading through all the bloated books. No one would spend months crafting cosplay costumes to wear at conventions. No one would feel inspired by it, or feel that they could see parts of themselves in any of the characters. Because I have to keep this short, I'll share my observations on just one character from the first season to illustrate my point. It's true that Robert Baratheon visits brothels regularly, and even brags about the girls he's raped after conquering lands in the past. Which is horrible, but never gave me the sense that the act of rape was being glorified. I believe that in making a character like this, Martin's aim was not to say that this is how the world should be, but to make people form their own criticisms of how the world really was, and possibly might still be. Furthermore, I thought it was clear that Robert is very much a hollow man, choosing to relive his past again and again, and drowning himself in physical pleasures as a way of compensating for the overwhelming emptiness in his life, where he's forced to run a kingdom even though the one person he's ever loved is no longer in it. He cannot give his love as a husband to Cersei, because he can never love any one person as much as he loved Lyanna. Knowing that Robert rejects her so completely hurts Cersei immensely, and ultimately drives her to seek compassion elsewhere. If it had been Robert's choice, he probably would have never married anyone else. But again, he was probably obligated to take a new wife in order to produce sons to inherit the throne, because that's what a king should do. No one cares if doing so destroys the man who still bears the crown upon his head, to the point that he would deliberately seek out his own oblivion. As this is a class full of students majoring in disciplines that tout critical thinking as one of their most valuable skills, I would have expected more careful responses to this series, ones that examine what the work is trying to do with a taboo topic, instead of just pointing it out over and over, or attacking the work for even daring to mention it. But that's just my opinion.